All right, so this is welcome to your first CPT workshop of the year. We're going to be going into how the CPT manual is set up and the different sections and how to start finding codes. So what I was saying was 3 of y'all are new students. Has anyone gotten their manuals yet? In the
No,
No, I have not.
Nope, still no manual.
no.
They should be coming any day. I'm expecting y'all to get them any day. All right, so that kind of sets me up for what we're gonna go over tonight. Instead of getting deep into it, since y'all can't follow along, what I'll do is like I said, we'll go through how the book is set up, the different sections, and how you go to start finding your codes and stuff. So let me share my screen real quick. Got just a couple of pictures that I want to show you guys. I swear, y'all are gonna think I am like technologically ignorant, but I swear I'm not. Let's see. Okay, so tonight we're gonna focus. We're gonna focus first on CPT, and then we're gonna focus on ICD-10. We'll have a couple of meetings, probably three meetings for each manual. Okay, and tonight we're gonna start with CPT, and this is what the front of the CPT manual looks like. Okay, now I have a 2022 version. More than likely, I'm thinking that you guys may get the 2023 version. I'm not sure yet. It depends on if our book, the people who provide our books, have them yet. They may or may not. But whether you get 2022 or whether you get 2023, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Because any updates we can find out on the internet anyway. So that's going to be all right. So don't worry about the version if you get a different year, if you get the 2023. I'm still going to be working out of the 2022. Unitech is not going to buy us a fresh set of manuals every year. Neither will your employers when y'all get there. Y'all will generally be working out of manuals that are a year or two old at least. But this is what they look like. They are big and thick. I know y'all have heard me say that before, but they seriously are like 3 inches thick and super, super heavy. But one of the main things I want you guys to understand about this book is that you do not need to memorize anything in this book except where the alphabetic index is in the back, the tabular sections are in the front, and that's pretty much the only thing you ever have to remember about this manual, because anything else you do in here, it's going to lead you to the right place. It's going to lead you to where you need to be. As long as you know that you have to start in that alphabetic index, you're going to get to where you need to be. You're going to find the right code. Okay, the book's going to lead you there. So again, don't stress out about trying to memorize codes. That is not the thing to do, because you'll never have to memorize them. Okay, especially not for this course. All right, so one of the things I want y'all to notice on my manual is all the little tabbies on the side, and I think I have a better picture. Yeah, all the little tabbies that I have in this manual, and that's not even all of them. That's just, one part of it. I just wanted to get nice and close up so y'all can see, because some people, they're broken up, okay, into the different sections: anesthesia, integumentary. That's a hard one for me to say. Is right after it. Then y'all can see musculoskeletal right under that, respiratory, cardio, digestive, all the different body systems, right? So some people will tab it and they'll put codes. They'll put the beginning section. Like, I think one of our questions, our daily assignment questions, was the code range for the respiratory system. It's like 30000 to 3299 nine.
Mhm.
99. Yeah. So some people will put the codes on the tabs. I personally, I like to do the body systems because that's just the way I like to do it. And it's all personal preference. And here's the deal. You can do it one way, and throughout your career, you're going to redo it like multiple times. I can't tell y'all how many times I've retabbed a manual, the same manual. Um, but this is what you want to start out. You want to start out tabbing all of your different sections. And there's some, I'm also, because I'm 10 years into this career and I'm just now thinking to do this because my students thought of it first. Um, I'm about to tab my alphabetic index so that it's faster to find things in there too. And I'm just going to do small tabs and do the A, B, C, D for that, just so I know where those sections begin. That's going to be a time saver because the first thing you do when you have a scenario, you pick out your keywords, you go to your alphabetic index. So having those labeled A, B, C, D is going to be a time saver rather than searching through pages and pages and pages to find what you need. Okay. Um, her name is Paige. So, um, okay, I'm getting a notice that my internet connection is unstable, y'all. So if it cuts off, say la vie. Y'all have a good evening. I'm not even gonna
Okay.
fight. Hopefully it won't cut off, but if it does, y'all have a good night. But so, and if y'all notice on this picture, I don't actually start with the sections. I start like before the chapters even begin with this X page XX. Um, and it's Roman numerals. I have no idea what it stands for. Maybe like 20. I don't know, but it's XX, and that's how I have it labeled in there. And the reason I have that labeled is because I don't have a medical degree. And starting on page XX, they give you, for medical terminology, a list of prefixes, suffixes, um, numerical, words that represent numbers, mono, die, things like that, try, things like that. They give you these awesome lists that'll help you break down some of these big medical terminology words that we just don't even know where to begin, right? So that's why I have that tab because I need that. I need that. Sometimes there's words that I come across and I'm like, I don't know what the crap this is. What is this? And I have to break down the word to figure it out. So that is some really helpful information. And like I said, these books provide so much information for you to be able to learn and figure out what you need to know. And also after the little section with all your lists and stuff like that, they also give you some illustrations that help you figure out different parts of the bodies and where you're at and what you need to do. And I don't know if you guys can see. Let's see, there it is. Okay. So you see the little guy and he's kind of like cut in half. He's a couple of pages after XX. But so if you ever need to know, like they start talking about if they're doing radiology, they're doing ultrasounds or something, they're talking about planes of the body. That is, this illustration right here will help you out big time. Try to figure that out. Okay. So, and y'all will also notice the section right after XX is E&M. That's evaluation and management. And when you guys wrap back around in the module, you'll find out all about E&M codes, evaluation and management codes. These are going to be your things, like not your procedures, like a biopsy or something like that, or some kind of laparoscopic procedure. E&M codes are your office visits, your consults, your hospital stays, inpatient, outpatient visits, things like that. So everything you code almost is going to have some, once you get into the workplace, everything you code is probably going to have an E&M visit code attached to it. If you work for a general practitioner or doctor's office, every visit, every patient that comes in there is there for a visit. So they're going to have some type of E&M code attached to their chart for that day, right? So that's super important. Now, whether it's inpatient or outpatient, whether it's in the hospital, this inpatient means they're officially checked into the hospital. They are considered inpatient. That coding is almost in and of itself. It's a whole nother ballgame. Inpatient coding. We actually don't look at a whole lot of inpatient coding in here. We do touch on it. And again, we'll wrap around to that when we do the E&M codes. But there's this one great little section in your CPT manual that actually has tables of the E&M codes, because there's different levels, right? I'm not going to get too deep into E&M codes. I just want y'all to understand what they are. There's different levels of office visits depending on how much time is spent and how complex the issues that the patient are having. So there are higher levels, and those get reimbursed at a higher rate, right? They spend more time, they do more work, they should get paid more. So we need to make sure we're attaching the correct E&M codes. So there are these lovely tables in your CPT manual that help you figure out which level of E&M code you need to use. Super helpful. Use that all the time, all the time. So I have that page earmarked, E&M, so I can quickly reference those. All right, and then after that, the little E&M section, there is a large section that is E&M guidelines. And something y'all will hear me harp on is guidelines. And what guidelines are. At the beginning of every section, and when I say section, I'm talking about the individual body system sections in the tabular index. Every section has its own set of guidelines. And basically what the guidelines are, that's our rules and regulations that tells us how to code, what we can't code together, maybe what we have to code separately, any kind of real specifics on certain codes, or certain, some specialties are real specific, like let's say gynecology, obstetrician, pediatrics and stuff like that. You have stuff that's real specific to babies, so that's going to be in that, the guidelines for that are going to be in that section, not in a different section. They kind of try to help you out, and they put the guidelines for each one in each section for you. And generally what I do is, once I have found my code, I flip real quick to the guidelines at the beginning of the section, and I just kind of skim through it to make sure I'm not missing anything, to make sure all of my bases are covered. And that's just a safe thing to make sure that you're getting the claim out clean. They call it a clean claim, one that's set to go through and it's going to pay and it's not going to get rejected or anything like that. You want a clean claim if you can get one, and that'll help you out, those guidelines. All right, so let's talk for a minute about the little tabbies. All right, all these guys are little post-it tabs that you can pick up at Walmart, the dollar store, any store almost that has a little section of office supplies will have these little post-it tabs, and they are removable. Like I said, I've retabbed my manual many times, added things, taken out things, and stuff like that. What you don't want to do is make notes in your manual. Get you some sticky notes and put in there if you need to do that, if there's something you think you need to remember. Don't write any notes in the manual. And the reason for this, there's a real specific reason why. When you go to take your certification exam, when you finish this program and you go and sit for the NCCT National Certification Test, you cannot have any notes written in your manual. There cannot be any notes, no loose papers. You're also going to have to take all your sticky notes out, but that's manageable, because if you're taking your test, you have your manual there, and they see notes written in, they will fail you. Okay, if a piece of paper falls out of your book while you're taking your test, they're going to fail you. So you have somebody there looking at you while you take that exam, so you don't want to get failed for something silly. Let's see. So again, the tabs, you can find them anywhere. Office supplies are sold. I usually put a link. I generally have a coding workshop page in e-learning where I put a link to Amazon for these tabbies if y'all want that. And I suggest the 1 inch in length or longer, just so you have room to write whatever it is you want to write on there. Like y'all see, I write kind of big. I write kind of big, and I wanted, to be able to clearly see what each of those sections was. So I have bigger tabs and I write big, but super handy. Super handy. Okay, so when you get your CPT manual, the first thing I want y'all to do is tab it. Go through and tab it. And that is going to help y'all get familiar with the manual, learn where the different sections are, and just starting to recognize things. Y'all will be surprised. The more y'all look in these books, the more y'all have to flip through pages, the more stuff is going to click with you. Okay, the more you look at it. So that's the main thing, is get in there. And even if y'all want to, I know the first time I got a coding manual, I actually sat there. I got a lot of offhand medical issues. So I will sit there and look up my own diagnoses all day long. I'm type 2 diabetic and I got arthritis and all this stuff. Code yourself. That's a fun way to get in the manual and dig. Look for oddball diagnoses when you get into ICD-10, because there's some really funny stuff, some situational stuff with ICD-10 that's just kind of funny, and amusing when you get to that. Like there's some codes called Z codes that are basically, they're extra codes that help you just make what you're coding more specific. You have a guy that has a broken leg. Well, if he broke his leg water skiing, there's a code for that to let you know that he was water skiing. If he fell off of a horse, there's a code for that. If he got hit by a wagon, there's a code for that. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. I mean, just wait, anything that could happen to a person, there's probably a code for that. Okay. So that's in our ICD-10 manual. But in either which manual that you start in, when we get our scenarios or chapter exercises, whatever they give us to code, you're going to look for the keywords. And for CPT, it's going to be procedures. And that is, again, what's done to the patient or for the patient or on the patient. It's a procedure. Your ICD-10 diagnoses, that's your illnesses and injuries and things like that. But we're looking for what the doctor is doing when we're looking for procedure, or what the staff is doing when we're looking for procedure codes. So, and most of the time, those are kind of easy to pick out, and there's not a lot of extra fluff once you get into the definitions. But you're going to pick out your keywords, and you're going to go to your alphabetic index. Now, your alphabetic index in your CPT manual is way in the back. It's this big, thick, almost, I'd say a fifth of the book is your alphabetic index, all the way in the back here. And that's where you're going to start. So why they put it in the back, I'm really not sure. But that's where it is. But that's where you have to start. So whenever you pick out your keywords, you're going to go into your alphabetic index and you're going to look for said keywords and see where they take you. And I always say, guys, that there are multiple ways to get to the right code. You don't always necessarily have to start with the right word. I don't always start with the right keyword. Sometimes I pick wrong because, again, medical terminology, and sometimes I just don't understand what I'm reading. So I'll guess at, I'll take my best guess and check it out and see if I'm right or not. Sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not, but that's, we're human. And sometimes coding is the best of what we can make of it, essentially. Somebody in the medical office wrote something down on somebody's chart, and we got to make the best sense out of it that we can. So a lot of it is kind of up to us as to what we think it is, and then of course it's going to other people, insurance companies or a government entity of some sort, and they're going to look at it and make sure that our coding matches the medical records and vice versa, before they pay anything. But so you want to start in that alphabetic index. And I've had, usually when we code in class, we'll go over something that y'all have looked at already or should have looked at already if you're on time with your assignments. We'll go over something we've looked at, and I'll ask you where you think you need to start. What keywords do you find in like off the front? And sometimes what y'all start with, the idea that y'all had to start with and the idea that I had are different. And that's okay, because most of the time we'll both end up in the same place. We'll both end up at the right code. Because like I said, the book will lead you to where you need to be. Sometimes when you look in the alphabetic index for something, let's say, I don't know if this is accurate, but let's just say it's an arm cast, okay? And you look up arm. Well, it'll say C procedure, C casting, or C X-ray, or C something else. It'll tell you where to go for what you're needing. Okay, so super helpful, right? So once you're in that alphabetic index and you find the keyword that you're looking for, it's going to have next to it either a code or a range of codes. And what you're going to do is you're going to go into that tabular section. And that's why some people like to put the numbers on the tabs instead of the section. So they can quickly, because it's not going to tell you what section in the alphabetic index you're looking at. It's going to give you the number. So they can go and say, okay, I'm looking in 3000s. So let me go straight to that section. That's fine. And again, it's personal choice. It's totally up to you what you do. And if you don't want to tab your manual, that's totally up to you too. You don't have to. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lifesaver. Like, I don't know anybody who does this for a living who doesn't tab their manual. Like, just God's honest truth on that. But so then, it gives you your code. You're going to go into your tabular section, your body sections, and find where you need to be. And then from there, it's basically going through that section, reading the definitions for each code, and picking the one that fits your scenario the best. Okay. And just some rules to remember about coding. Number one, we do not code what we don't know. We do not guess. If it's not in black and white, it didn't happen. That's just a basic law of coding. If it is not documented, it did not happen, and we don't code it. If there's no documentation for it, it did not happen, and we don't code it. And I'm repeating myself on purpose there because y'all got to remember that, okay? And we don't guess. We do not guess. If there's something that we're uncertain about, we have to go back and find more information. And whether that's going back to the office staff, digging in hospital records, whatever it is that we have to do. There's been times where I've had to talk to a doctor directly. I had to go through his office manager and be like, look, I need to talk to him about this procedure because I don't understand what the nurse wrote. I can't make heads or tails of this, so I can't code it. If he wants to be paid for it, I need to understand what it was. It's that simple. And he, when he got a chance, he called me back and talked to me about it and helped me gain an understanding, and I was able to code it and get it paid for. They don't mind doing that. They understand that that's the nature of the business, that sometimes we just need more information than what was given. And sometimes we have to call back and verify because we'll get conflicting reports. I worked for a trauma surgeon in an ER at one point, and his staff was real bad about saying it was a left hand when it was a right hand, or a left leg when it was a right leg, or vice versa. They were real bad about sides of the body. I think they had somebody in their office that was dyslexic, maybe, and she consistently inverted which side of the body was being worked on. So at least once a week, I was calling their office because in one spot in the report, it was x-rayed left hand and then operated on right hand. So you got to make sure that your stuff is accurate and verify if you need to. You can't be shy about talking to the doctor, talking to their staff, or talking to the insurance company. I personally, I have social anxiety. I don't particularly, I'll tell y'all now, Zoom meetings are my least favorite part of my job because I don't like getting up in front of people and talking. Um, on the phone, I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit more comfortable because I'm not face to face. I'm not self-conscious, over the phone, and I'm pretty confident in what I know. So I don't have an issue getting on the phone with the insurance company and arguing my point. Um, in fact, I kind of enjoy it. There's a little bit of petty brandy coming out. I kind of enjoy making the insurance companies pay. But that's besides the point. Um, and I kind of lost track of where I was. But you will get to the right codes, okay? Regardless of where y'all start from in the alphabetic index, you'll get to the right place. And then it's just, again, reading those definitions and seeing what fits your scenario the best, okay? The biggest thing I'm seeing as far as CPTs, there's not, like with ICD-10 codes, there's a fair amount of modifiers that you have to add on. There's not so many with CPT. The biggest thing with CPT that I see my students make a mistake with is just the left or right thing. Coding at the end of a procedure, depending on, like, if it was a left hand or a right hand or a foot or a leg or an arm or an eye, an ear, anything that has a left or a right, you've got to notate that. That's got to be in the code. Behind that CPT code, you're going to want an RT if it was the right side or an LT if it was the left side. That's super, super important to remember, okay? And really easy to forget, I do it all the time. But, try to do better than me. So, and that's actually something almost every single, we had a question that needed a RT or an LT on the last exam, on the chapter 16 exam. And I think every single one that I've graded so far got that wrong. And it's not that they forgot it, they put the wrong side. They put RT instead of LT or vice versa. I can't remember which one it was the correct one, but I do remember that almost every single person got it wrong for some reason. So that was a point I wanted to make to y'all, to make sure y'all are double checking yourselves on that LT and RT and verifying which side of the body is being worked on. Okay. Let's see. Anything else I need to get a little specific? I had planned on actually getting y'all to get into the manual and look for some stuff. But since 3 of the 4 y'all do not have your manuals yet, I don't really see the point in getting into that tonight. Okay, we'll save that for our next one. But for now, I think we're at a good point, because you guys, once you get those manuals in, you'll know what to do with them. Go ahead and tab them, start looking through, play with them, essentially, I guess. Just start familiarizing yourself. And then y'all will see in your chapter exercises, now that y'all are doing regular chapter exercises, you'll see where it asks you to look in that CPT manual or look in the ICD-10 manual. And that's the other thing I want y'all to also get through y'all tonight. Don't worry about the ICD-10 codes for right now. Those of y'all that have not been through ICD-10 yet, don't stress yourself out. Just write, if you don't have your manual, no manual, or have not done ICD-10 yet, or had trouble, put something in that blank. Don't leave it blank, okay? On your tests, don't leave anything blank at all. At least guess at the answer, because I will give you partial credit for a guess, okay? But if you put nothing in the blank, I can't give you anything for nothing, right? So always at least guess, or write no manual, could not find some. Let me know that you looked for it in some capacity, or at least noticed it, acknowledge it in some way, okay? And then once we go through ICD-10, y'all will have been in this long enough that you'll catch on to it before we get there. Because like I said, we're going to do ICD-10 workshops after we do a few CPT. I want to do CPT first because that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're focusing on. So that's what I wanted to focus on. But again, we are going to do ICD-10 in a bit. But for right now, don't stress yourselves out about it. Okay? We'll get there. And I'm not taking points off or marking wrong for stuff that y'all haven't. I don't expect y'all to know what I haven't taught you, and put that way. Okay. Um, and I know who's been through what. I keep good enough tabs on y'all that I know who's been through what modules and where y'all are at in your programs and whatnot. Um, but I think that's about it for tonight, guys. Let me know. Definitely, I still want y'all to let me know when you get your manuals in, just so I can check. I have a list, and as people get manuals in, I check it off to make sure that everybody gets their books. We have had issues where things have gotten shipped to the wrong place. Students moved. They were no longer at the address that they signed up with. Things like that happen. We can track the shipments, but I need to know about it. Okay. So let me know about that. Especially if y'all have not gotten them by the end of this week, I need to know so I can start reaching out to our people that order books and can track shipments and things like that. Because y'all definitely should have them no later than this Friday. No later. So again, get with me if you do not, so we can figure something out. Do you guys have any questions for me at this point about CPT or the course in general? Anything. Like I said, these are informal meetings, so I mean the floor is open. Anything you want to talk about? No, nothing.
No, I finally figured out my stuff. It took me a minute, but I think I finally catching on.
And that's normal, Jenny. That is totally normal. Everybody, when they first get into this, there's different websites and different logons and all this stuff. And it's like, oh my God. And then you got me contacting you and other people from Unitech contacting you. It can all be a bit much. Like
Yeah.
I honestly, y'all, I've gone to admissions and I've been like, I think we stress them out a little bit too much when they walk in the door. Can we not freak them out the minute they get here? But I mean, that's kind of the nature of it, the nature of online learning and jumping into it, in the middle, being able to jump into it anytime. That's the kind of the price we pay. It's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
when you start. But again, that's normal. And like I said, you'll get into the swing of things. Give it a few weeks. Give it a few weeks. And again, Jenny, you do a really good job. Anytime you need anything, you reach out. She's not afraid to reach out. Y'all, same goes. Reach out to me if you need anything. Don't sit there and overthink something for 30 minutes. Don't waste 30 minutes of your life overthinking something. Shoot me a dang text so we can knock it out in 2 minutes and we can move on. Okay.
I have a question.
What you got, Courtney?
So is the workshop, we only do that once a week? Is there, I know it's online learning, but are there more lectures to teach, or it's basically we need to be reading so that we can understand that there's no like lectures once
Formal
or
lectures.
twice?
We do a class meeting every Thursday at 3:30. That's our
Right.
weekly class meeting, which we will do chapter reviews. And if there's anything I need to lecture on,
Uh-huh.
we'll pretty much do it there. But the majority of your information is going to come from your textbooks. Um,
Okay.
I feel like they do such a good job of covering it between you reading it, doing the chapter exercises, doing anything in the workbook, then the chapter review in the exam. Y'all are going to see this information enough. Y'all don't need me to sit and lecture it to you for an hour. I would rather come on and us discuss anything that needs to be discussed. If there's anything you are having problems with or don't understand, and tell y'all what it's really like. Because book learning is important, but again, this is not what the job is going to be like on a daily basis for y'all. This is not what it's like when you're out in the workforce. It's not sitting here looking at this manual all day, like it is in the program. So I would rather give y'all a good realistic idea of what to expect out of the position and out of the program than just regurgitate what you've already read in your book 3 times. So yeah, so these coding workshops that I'm doing on Tuesday nights, this is completely extra. This is just completely extra for y'all to get a better understanding of CPT. Some of the instructors don't do this. So most of them do. Some of them don't. Almost all of them do one-on-one tutoring though, if you need that, which I'll do that. I'm more than happy to do that as well. If y'all would rather work individually than hop on the Zoom with everybody else. And but I mean, like y'all see, it's not like there's 50 people here. You know, there's 3 or 4 other people that are in the same place you are, you know, just trying to get through the program and get a good firm understanding of the material. But yeah, so I don't often just lecture. Just lecture. Like as you're going through things, if there's anything you have questions about, hit me up. We will talk about it and talk it out. But like I said, most of the students, if you do the reading and you do the chapter exercises, the assignments that I assign, you're gonna get it. The book is so good. It is really good at explaining everything, honestly. How to use these manuals, how to determine the right code, what thought processes go into determining the right code, and why. And the book actually also gives you some really great, when you're starting to learn CPT and ICD-10, it actually gives you examples. It says, this is our scenario and this is how we came up with the code. And it gives you step by step. So it really, it's a good curriculum. It's a good program. And like I said, if you actually do the reading and do the chapter exercises, you'll catch on to it, no problem. Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you.
You're welcome, Courtney. Any other questions, y'all? I see my little one's getting impatient. All right, ladies. Well, like I said, we're going to continue these on Tuesday nights. Hopefully next Tuesday, y'all will have your manuals. I will have some examples ready for us to dig into the books and start finding. In the meantime, just continue doing what you're doing to find the codes, whether that's Google searching or however or if you're writing no manual or whatever you're doing is fine. Just keep that up for now. And then when you get your manuals in, let me know, first of all, and then we'll go from there. Okay? All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for giving me your time. I really, really appreciate it. If y'all think of anything after the fact, again, shoot me a text. It doesn't matter when. Just shoot me a text and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I also do want to let y'all know one thing. I know I say text me anytime or call me anytime, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if y'all call or text me between 5 and 6 in the afternoon, you probably will never get me at that time. That's when I'm leaving. I'm usually driving to go pick up my daughter, picking her up from karate and either stopping at the store, getting dinner, whatever the case may be. But I'm usually not in the house. Like I clock out at 5 o'clock and I go get my kid and then, life. So if you text me between 5 and 6 and I don't get back with you right away, that's why. That's why. That's a really bad, that's like the witching hour for me. It's nothing happens in that hour. Nothing. But, all right. Well, if y'all don't have anything else for me, guys, y'all have a great night. And again, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Bye. Have a good night.
Y'all too. See y'all Thursday at Zoom if you come.